Ready?
Yes, I've started.
This is our episode. We are recording a video one.
Are we filming? Oh, ouch.
I think we are. So, this is it's going to be an audio podcast for those that want to listen to it as a standard one on Patreon, right?
Yeah.
But then, if you want to see that, then it's available. It's available for you to watch as well. So the only way you can watch it is on Patreon.
Yeah, and we're going to offer that to... We haven't quite decided how it's going to work.
No.
In terms of what levels we're offering this to. We will offer the odd free one, won't we? To entice you over. And then it will be for one of our Patreon levels, won't it? I think most of the video... Most of the pornographic stuff that we shoot.
Absolutely. So today's top... Before we get anywhere, have you got a love bite and a black eye?
Yeah.
Why have you got a love bite and a black eye?
See, this is what you don't get to see.
That's some serious makeup sex, isn't it?
Basically, we didn't even have an argument. I don't know where the black eyes come from.
Right.
And I think it might just be I've been feeling under the weather.
Right.
And sometimes when I'm under the weather, it sounds really weird, but I get a skin rash right here. Is it that side or that side?
That side, yeah.
So I get a little bit of a dry skin patch here, but it almost looks like a black eye this time round.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Proper woogie.
And that
Hives.
And that is, where is it? That's
Yeah.
that's an actual love bite.
Wicked.
Because I'm fucking 14.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it.
Taking it back to the 80s.
Don't get me wrong. I've just restarted. I've just finished a work contract. I'm looking for an next one. Hopefully, I'm going to get one. I fucking hope I don't have an interview this week.
Yeah.
Going in looking like... I literally look like a sailor. I won't go in with a beanie
literally
hat.
look like someone's give you an iodine and then tried to kiss and make up.
Also, just on my appearance, while we're rinsing me, I had my hair cut. It's too short.
I don't think so. I think it looks all right.
Oh, thanks, mate. But that's very kind of you. But when I've worn it under a beanie, something happens, and my girlfriend says I get cress hair.
Cress hair?
Because it's sort of like you can see straight through my hairline. Can you not see? Is it all flat at the moment?
Yeah. Looks a bit spiky.
When it spikes up,
yeah,
and the sun shines through it.
Yeah, I can see what she's saying.
Yeah, she just goes, "Oh, you got cress hair." I'm like, "That does wonders for my
Does that basically mean thinning?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. She's like, "You know those Play-Doh heads?" I'm like,
"Excellent.
Don't finish that.
Cressglassen.
Oh, puns.
So today's top 5 is
chosen by Simon Tramp Lovell.
He's been a patron from day one,
Yes,
big supporter.
Sup, Simon. You did a great... You said a few good top 5s that me and Stu saw, but the one that we liked a lot was top 5 fondest school memories.
Yes. So infant school and senior school, yeah?
Oh, we can do. I went balls in for senior school.
It's all right. Well, I'll let you kick off then. Number 5.
So this one's kind of a... I'm going to do that as a special mention. I'm going to do some infant school ones, right, as a result of this. So number 5 is going to be when I at Basden District Sports. Did you ever do any of the district sports? Did you do the Essex District Sports, or was you not good enough at anything?
No, I never competed for the district. No.
What did you compete for then?
I played football for my school. And I played table tennis for my school.
Did you really?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was never like one of them people that could do cross country that good that they got chosen to do the district.
Neither could I. But we did the districts, and we won the 4x100 metre relay, which was a very fond memory. Predominantly because we had...
Can I just say that one of my 5 involves the relay?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, this has just crept in my mind, and there's probably quite a lot of other junior school ones, but I'm going to fucking just throw this one in because it came straight to me. And basically, we it was a wicked day. I think I'd done the long jump as well, and I'd done okay in that, but I hadn't done as well as I expected.
Right.
And it came round to, I think I came second. I came first, but I didn't get the world record for long jump, which I think is something like 9 metres, and I got about 8 metres 50, so I was quite disappointed. And we did the 400 metres. It was me and weirdly three of my other best chums. and we were all in the relay together, and we were losing, and none of us had done particularly well. But I remember on the very last stretch, my chum Ben Simpson, who I'm going to do his wedding soon, not marrying him.
I mean, that would be impressive.
Yeah.
Remember the vicar, the one with black eyes and a love bite?
Woogie. Ben just ran, literally, we was in about 5th place, and Ben ran into 1st on the fight on that final stretch, which was really fucking... absolutely amazing, and it was a really cool memory. I'll never forget it. And there's a photo of us 4 all standing there, like with our gold medals, just looking like total dudes, really.
So your number 5's actually just you showing off?
It was only a quick memory that you said. My actual number 5, which was way more malicious, was when a girl in science class who had heavily permed hair leant over a Bunsen burner.
Blue flame. Won't even see him. Won't even see a blue flame.
And we smelt it before we saw it. And people were like, what the fuck is that smell? And
a lot of mousse on hair back then.
Oh my God, in the 90s, it was all mousse.
Yeah.
And Katie, God bless her, was this tall, gangly girl. And loads of it caught fire. I'm only saying this was a fun memory because it was funny because she didn't get hurt and she was all right. And I think she had maybe 2 or 3 skin grafts.
Oh, okay.
But just don't forget how her running out of the class with her hair on fire. Very fond memory that I started. So sorry, Katie. Yeah.
I don't think he's sorry. That was there was one in a science class guy called Matt, and couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Obviously all the boys are wearing baggy white shirts when I was at school, kind of like 1989, and leant over a blue flame, up went the shirt.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
was he all right?
Don't care. My number 5. He was a right cunt.
Serves him right.
Mr. Dougan. Mr. Dougan was a religious education teacher.
Are these going to be top 5 times you've been fucking interfered with?
No. We should point out that we did do 2 weeks ago with 76 and Brad Acton, top 5 Michael Jackson records. We obviously will not be releasing that.
Have you seen any of it yet?
I've watched the final bit of the second one last night.
I've watched the first one, but I've got about half hour into that, and there's too much to wank over, so I'm going to go there. Fucking hell, it's weird because of the one that we were planning on releasing, which was purely about his music and stuff like that. But fucking hell, I went into that documentary very sceptical because a lot of stuff I'd read online.
Same.
And regardless of all that scepticism, there's chains of events in that are well documented.
Yeah.
Regardless of their testimonies, that made me completely rethink my fucking position on this, man. And I need to watch the second half, but it is
some really
stuff,
unpleasant
man.
stuff on there, and it's a shame because we had a really good episode just talking
brilliant.
about how incredible Michael Jackson's music is, but it seemed very, very in stupidly bad taste.
Poor taste, and it seemed a bit salacious, like we did it intentionally, and we hadn't.
We hadn't. That's the thing. It was like, oh man, we can't release that.
It's a cracking episode as well.
Yeah, it really was.
Is, but
so Mr. Dougan was a religious education teacher, and he was a teacher when you started that school that everyone was a bit scared of. He was only a little fella, but and he's not like that.
Oh.
And he was quite famous for going, I want a 5-side essay for Monday morning. And like you'd get in trouble when you'd be given to write a 5-side essay for Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And all of these things that relate to school, he's obviously, please judge us on the little dirtbags we were at school, not the 40-something that I am now. Yeah. And but yeah, he was someone that you was fiercely scared of, and obviously you didn't want to go to his class because you was learning about religion, which you might as well have just had. I've just got double made up studies now, and he just might as well have just gone and played Dungeons and Dragons because it's exactly the same. So yeah, it's not real.
It's not real.
Dungeons and Dragons.
R.E.
And then anyway, so we got called into assembly. And what I should say as well regarding assemblies, when you used to sit on the parquet flooring, it was ice cold, and you generally have some kind of thin, cheap trouser like that your mum bought you. DJ Destruction is probably the best person I know for farting. And he used to be able to lay on his back and get his fists and do that on his stomach. And then he
like
would
King Kong,
like King Kong, and then he would literally just rip a massive fart.
Wow.
And in
I don't know why he didn't just stop there.
In one assembly, just fired this massive fart off, and it rattled through the parquet floor and literally resonated around this whole building. And the teachers can't. What can you say to that? You can't. No one knows who done it, but obviously the whole school's just roaring with laughter, and the teachers. It's a weird situation. You can't just go right. Who done that? Do you know what I mean? And so that was it. But however, this assembly, our head of or our deputy head come up and stood on stage, and he went, "Today is a very sad day for our school. Unfortunately, Mr. Dougan's passed away." And then one person just went, "Oh no!" And then the whole school just roared with laughter. I mean, at the time, I remember thinking it was a real funny moment at school because the whole school was roaring with laughter at this teacher that no one liked dying. But when I look back, I think, someone died, and 1,000 people thought it was hilarious, and it's obviously fucking tragic.
The only thing is, the only reason that would be kind of tragic is if one of his relatives were in the room. But if none of his mates were in the room, then I don't suppose anyone got hurt in that situation, other than Mr. Dougan's memory.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I've had two things,
and I really wish I could have just at the time thought of some kind of parody of. 5-side essay for Monday morning and morning. Wish I could have thought of something at the time.
You didn't jot it down in your little notepad?
I've got about 6 pages of variations, but
nothing
worth
the quality that we need to put out.
No, not at all.
I love an assembly misdemeanor or whatever.
Yeah.
Have I told you about the time I sat behind a junior school? The girl I thought was really quite attractive. Turns out she actually quite liked me, bizarrely. She was the year above, so I was petrified. But I sneezed behind her, all cross-legged, sat on the floor, freezing, giving yourself what was it called, piles, and sneezed. But I tried to do that thing where you hold it in like that, and I just went, and it's the only time I've ever tried it. I don't know why I was trying to freestyle it in assembly.
Internal sneezing.
I just fired snot like that. And I was like that, and she looked round, and it was all just sticking over my hands and stuff like that.
Cobwebs of it.
Low moment. And another time at school, I had a black eye like this. And the head teacher called me up from assembly up to talk about why I had a black eye and stuff like that. And but I don't want to talk about that.
No, why would you? Number 4.
Number 4. Hey, happy times, happy first kiss.
Oh, okay. Who was he?
Hey, we're not homophobic here,
No,
all right?
Of course we're not.
Hey, no.
Bit of bounce.
Well, you wasn't actually being homophobic. Which links into my favourite Office episode that we're going to do with Leon later. The American Office. I'm going to talk a lot about quotes from one of those episodes, which is all about that. First kiss. So I think I was in, without lying, because normally I lost my, I'd only had sex about 8 or 9 times before I was 10. The truth is, I think the first time I kissed anyone was properly, like tongues, was probably, I think it was the second year at senior school.
Right.
And dating back then, I don't know how it was with you, but we used to date, like dating wasn't dating like how it is now. You go out with someone and you wouldn't really, you barely even talk to them really. And you was always just hanging out with your mates.
It's a case of you say you're going out with them.
Yeah, but that's it. There's no other obligation.
Yeah.
And you might not see them for 2 days. I remember Bridie Mansfield dumped me I didn't even know I was dating her. My mate came up to me and said, Bryony says she doesn't want to see you anymore. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, I forgot that I'd said yes.
Wow.
Because she didn't even ask me, because back then, their friends would ask you out, or you'd do it through someone else. It was very, very strange.
Yeah.
But Louise was her name. And everyone was like, a few of the kids in class had sort of like been like, so when are you going to kiss Louise and stuff like that? I was like, just whenever. Because we'd gone to Belgium on some like school trip where I'd done something pretty inappropriate. I think Craig was already slipping out there.
Okay.
Where is it in Belgium where it's all the mass graves of World War II? And it's all the white graves everywhere. Where is that? Do you know what I'm talking about? This is where everyone's going to be screaming, Rome, you cunts!
Yeah. Venice.
Venice, that was it, yeah. I stood on the stairs. Oh, God. I stood on all these marble stairs because I was surrounded by graves. And just shouted, Mortal Kombat! Anyway, on that school, I'd impressed her sufficiently enough to start dating me. Came back from the school trip, everyone was like, when are you going to kiss her? And actually, Louise was really attractive. And I was batting, and I really wasn't fussed. Even at that point, I don't think that all my cylinders were firing with girls. And
Figures.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so anyway, what had happened is they set up there was a school block called the Demountables, which was like a temporary set of buildings, as you well know. And they sat up 2 chairs at lunch, facing each other in this sort of like reception room between 2 other classrooms. And we basically went in there, and there was loads of people outside. And in the other 2 classrooms as well, there was like a glass panel above on the ceiling that you could sort of, if you got on a table, you could stare up and stare through it into the other rooms.
Okay.
And I remember me and Louise sort of like starting to kiss, and obviously no idea what I was doing. And then because I had my eyes open at points as well, like that. And I was just looking up, and it was like all the kids just watching me, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
I really didn't like my first kiss.
Did you get a love bite that day?
Probably. Hey. I thought it was like honestly, felt like a warm slug in my mouth. I didn't like it. Did
Kissed
you?
the girl and you didn't like it?
I didn't. Did you? What was your first kiss like?
It was a dare with this girl, and yeah, I remember thinking.
Like that? Had you drawn a little face on your hand?
No, but I do remember like thinking I was really nervous, and then I remember just thinking, "Wow, that was really good."
Really?
Yeah.
Well done.
Right. Okay. My number 4.
She dumped me straight after that.
Sports day. There was a teacher. I won't say his name, but he had a head like a spoon, and his first name was Joe. And obviously, every teacher has a nickname.
Yeah.
He was Joe Spoon.
Oh, Joe Spoon.
Yeah, he was Joe Spoon or Spoonhead.
Didn't mean to correct you there.
And he ran with his hands like that, but like by its side. So
the teacher.
Yeah. So,
Why? When did you ever see
the teachers used to do a relay as well.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And it was at the Thurrock Harriers track, a black shot, so you probably drove past.
Yeah.
But he sort of had his hands flapping, but wide at the side.
That's so embarrassing.
It was quite but he was the PE teacher as well. And so he was quite athletic, and he was took it really seriously.
Yeah.
And I think he was doing the home stretch, which means that was in front of the like stands at the athletic stadium.
Yeah.
So everybody would see, obviously, the crescendo of the race.
Yeah.
And he stacked it. Because obviously as he started running with his like weird hands, and everyone was like spoonhead and cracking up watching him run. Then he stacked it, literally grazed his nose like straight along the floor, and it was just like the old school was always like, "Wee, wake up!" Just brilliant. It was like super exciting, like because no one likes teachers, especially PE teachers. And he stacked it.
Yeah, no. That's ticking all the boxes. And he's serving right for running like that.
Exactly. And there was a couple of like the kind of kids from the school football team that really liked hanging out with PE teachers. Fucking weirdos. that were just like, man, is he all right? And he was like, shut up, Spoonhead's fell over. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's like he's breathing still.
Exactly, yeah. Don't worry,
man.
come Monday, he'll still be a cunt.
Did he have a Grace face at school as well?
I can't remember.
That's great.
I can't remember.
Wearing that shame. That's fucking fantastic.
Exactly.
I was worried as soon as I started mentioning Katie setting her hair on fire. I was worried you were going to go, "Oh, you malicious cunt." I was thinking of like nice school memories, like my dad seeing me off on my first day and that. But I'm glad violence has made its way into yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, Christopher.
Basketball. This is my greatest sporting moment ever, of which there are many. And that's not including snowboarding, which I don't call sporting in that way, really. It's just an expression. That's me expressing myself, I think, more artistically than anything. So my greatest sporting moment fucking ever was...
you actually beat me to saying something cuntish about that then.
Let's call this guy Smandrew Trowell. That's his name, right? And basically, Smandrew didn't like me at all. I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I'm quite divisive.
Definitely.
Smandrew was the number one sports guy at our school, bar none.
Right.
Mainly because he'd gone through puberty before he joined secondary school. He was a giant. He was an absolute giant, and he was in Essex everything.
Right.
Cricket, rugby, and being a bully.
Right.
And basically, he didn't like me very much. I think this really he didn't like, though. We were playing basketball, and I really enjoyed basketball. And basically, he had the ball. He's being all fancy with it, and we were right down at the end in my court, in my end. I don't know what it's called now.
Yep.
The end zone. Half,
I don't know.
quarter, I don't know. And I just literally was casually bouncing it, and I managed to grab it, steal it, and run all the way up, dribble all the way up the other end of the court.
Yeah.
And he was chasing me, and also managed to lay it up straight into the net in front of like 100 people. And the gym teacher came over and high-fived me. That's how we started our relationship, and it was the greatest thing ever. It was like I felt so cool that I'd just done that with the sports jock ever.
That's decent.
It was really cool. I definitely, I'm not particularly very good at sports. I'm infamously bad at football.
Yeah.
I'm quite bad at quite a lot of sports. I'm all right at short tennis. Who wants to be good at short tennis?
Short people.
Short people, yeah. And I was all right at long jump, as I say, 8 metres 50. And so I beat him, but... Was it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, because that definitely made him really hate me.
Yeah.
And then
That was only a matter of time anyway.
It was only a matter of time. We did have many, many other like run-ins, me and Andrew, because we didn't like each other, and I never held back on trying to show him up in class, and he used to do the same for me. And we used to fight over a girl, and she was awesome. And it was the first girl that I nearly had this as my memory, one of my memories, but I got forced to ask out a girl, and she was like the it girl in the year by a couple of kids who were kind of a bit bullish to me, and sort of like threw me in a room with her, and I ended up asking them out because they were like, go on, do it, because I'd said that I liked her. But she said yes. So the guys hated me even more. But then Andrew got the last laugh. What did I call him? Andrew. Smandrew. He got the last laugh because she did end up dumping me and going out with him. So he got, I should have slam dunked it.
Yeah.
That would have crushed him. So that's it, basketball, man.
Decent.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Robinson's released if you bought like 3 bottles of squash, they done like a save the tokens off the bottle and send off and get a Robinson's blackcurrant drinking bottle.
Right.
And so when I was at school...
So rot your teeth out and we'll give you a drinking bottle as a reward.
Absolutely that.
Sweet.
It was the 80s. It was acceptable. And so I got this kind of purple drinking bottle, which looked really cool. And so each day I'd take my packed lunch to school, and I'd also fill that up with squash and take it in. And then we was in history one day, and obviously you wasn't allowed to eat or drink in class, and I was quite thirsty. My mate Alan went, just have a quick drink, and I was like, nah, and he was like, have a quick drink. And I was like, oh, fuck it, all right. So I undone my Midland Bank bag, because I opened up my account with Midland Bank and got a complimentary bag, and got this plastic bottle out, full up with like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, warm squash.
Yeah.
And
what you having in your squash, mate?
I think it was like blackcurrant and apple.
All right, yeah.
And I don't drink squash.
No, but back then.
But you know, it was the 80s.
Yeah.
And so I weren't allowed milk. Thatcher milk snatcher. She ruined that.
Had your mum dried up by then?
By then, that had all stopped. Like I say, I was 15. So I sneaked this juice out.
Yeah.
Unscrewed the cap, and then kind of like lifted up my folder and went to take a mouthful of it.
No.
And then
what's happening here?
Alan went like that, as if he was going to grasp me, but didn't. He just kept it really, really loud, which made me laugh. And so I went like that.
Yeah.
And then the blackcurrant just shot out of my nose and went all over the place. To which the whole the whole class has then just roared with laughter because I've just snotted blackcurrant everywhere. My eyes are now streaming. And literally, Mr. Callow, who looked like Gordon Burns from the Krypton Factor, looked up to see blackcurrant all over the desk. Me with my Robinson's bottle, which he then confiscated, and I never got it back.
He can't. What? That's theft, mate.
Rough.
That is unfair, man. Did it burn when it came through your nose? Or was
I remember it was a sensation I hadn't experienced before.
No, that's not nice. Like liquid going through your nose.
It's almost like sicking.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Sugar.
Yeah. Rubbish.
That's embarrassing as well, mate.
Next one, mate.
Right, I was going to say ski trip.
Is this your 2 or 3?
2.
Right.
So I was going to say ski trip because that is easily my fondest memory.
Right.
It was in it was in senior school, and it was just the best.
Yeah.
7 days of my life.
Yeah.
But that's a bit boring, right? Just to
Rubbish.
say everything went right and it was great. So I've got a fond memory of when I was getting about 14, 15, that's when I started paying less attention in class and being more naughty, I guess. And one day the teacher, Mrs. D, maths teacher, she came into work to school with just a black and white striped shirt on. And basically, one of my mates had drawn a Shearer number 9 because it was Newcastle. It was exactly the right size and stuff like that. And he was like, I wish we could get that on her back. And I was like,
leave it to Craig.
Leave it to Craig. So I just got some sellotape and just put it on the top of it like that. And I said to the 2 people in the table in front of me, I said, look, call her over and ask her to show you something on your like coursework, on your maths. So she came
I love shit like this.
Yeah, so she came over, and I remember Paul being like that, and Miss Denton, lovely woman,
right?
Named. Old as well, old as shit, vulnerable as
probably
shit.
Dead now.
Yeah, she's gone. Like, vulnerable as shit, and I expertly with the sellotape managed to nail it on her back, but the sellotape got tangled in her mangy hair. Like, so she was walking around with it stuck to her back and in her hair, and she had no idea. And this went on for about 5-10 minutes. She was walking around the whole of the room, and everyone was getting a look at it, and everyone was in fucking tears. And then she
Did you feel bad? Too busy basking in the glory of it.
No, I didn't. And what's worse is the barefaced cheek of this. I didn't even feel. I think I thought I should feel bad because she couldn't get it out of her hair in front of the whole classroom. So basically, she literally resulted in front of us all cutting off her head to take this side off, and I still didn't feel bad. And then she went, right, who did that then? And you'd think I wouldn't moan up to it. I just put my hand straight up and just went, I did miss. And she went, what? Why would you do
both
that?
Both cunning and stupid.
Yeah, and she went, why would you do that? And I said, I went to stick it on Nick's back, but as I went to do it, you walked in front of me to answer Paul's question, and it went on your back. She accepted it, and all got off scot-free. It was ridiculous.
Now she's dead.
You're an awful person, mate. Number 2, mate. Number 2.
So we had a lad at our school called Kane, who joined in about the 4th year.
Yeah.
And
went on to wrestle, didn't he?
Never an easy thing, I imagine, starting at a new school.
No, it's tough.
And he was Northern. And
no.
and there was no one in our school that had a Northern accent. His voice hadn't broke, so, ooh, he going to speak like that? Like, really.
He was Irish.
I was meant to do some kind of sort of Yorkshire accent then, but he did just go a little
Louis
bit.
Walsh's son.
Yeah. So, yeah, he had a really kind of high-pitched voice, but he was a right fucking rogue. Yeah. He was like a right handful, and I think he'd come to this school, and whether it was a contrived thing that I'm going to put myself out there as a toe rag to try and, get in with everyone.
Yeah.
But we had a French class, and her name was Mrs. Offord, and the last day of term she'd bring her dogs in, and she was one of the people that had them dogs that
was
looked like...
Was she fit?
No, God, she really wasn't. She was... that sounded really horrible. She was old. But she had them dogs that looked like lions, and they were the size of lions.
Wow.
And she had 2 of them. They were just massive fucking foreign dogs.
And they were allowed to bring them into school?
On the last day of term, she was.
Bloody hell.
And they were fucking massive. But she was, like, right mean. She was the one that, if you played up, she would grab your hair, just on your hairline, and pull it up.
Yeah.
And it was just an unbearable pain. And then, like... I mean, obviously, I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore at school. But she would, like, just pull your hair up right on your hairline. It really fucking hurt. But I remember he was... he sat next to me, but in front of him was my mate Lee. And Lee was quite angry. And so I kind of kept saying to Kane, like, throw something at him. And so he was, like, getting, like, bits of blue tack. And then he was doing the thing with a straw and the tissue... Like, well, it weren't a straw; it was a biro. You'd take the thing out of the biro and you'd spit the soggy tissue.
Yeah.
And he done it a couple of times at Lee, and I think Lee was doing that thing like, if I just ignore it, it'll go away, and it didn't. So Lee just turned around and smashed him full in the face. But then he was finally, but Kane then got put in what at the time was called the trapdoor, because the trapdoor was on telly.
Don't you open that
trapdoor! I had a set of Beryl trapdoor pens. They were super fucking cool. And you'd obviously just be constantly nicking blue tack off the walls at school to try and make your own little burp from trapdoor.
Wicked.
But the trapdoor was the room. There was like an adjoining sort of little room between the 2 French classes. And in it, they had all like the Tricolor books that generally we used to just deface with really offensive graffiti. But it was like a little storeroom. And it had adjoining doors. So... But then within them doors, they had like a little sort of like a vent, but it was like a wooden vent with like a kind of horizontal like run of vents that you could just sort of post stuff through.
Brilliant.
So what, like the blinds to the left there, I don't know if that's on camera.
Probably not. But picture blinds.
Yeah, sorry. And then what Kane done was trying to get attention. He put his fingers from the inside through these vents and was like jiggling his fingers.
Yep.
Like, just to try and get attention without making any noise.
Good lad.
But Lee didn't say anything, but just pointed. And the French teacher then see what Kane was doing with just just the sort of top third of his fingers through this thing. She then got a meter ruler.
Oh, she fucking did not.
And just went, whah!
There's no way.
And just smashed all the ends of his fingers that were coming through that thing with a meter ruler.
That is unbelievable, man.
Yeah. Rough justice in French.
Teachers did go by different you had different standards then, couldn't you? You could whack people with rulers back in there. I'm not trying to take the piss, but
rough justice. When Matt set his the shirt on fire, Mr. McNeely hit him with a ruler for being stupid.
Jesus.
Yeah, Mr. Davis, who had an iron rod for a finger, would just literally prod you in your chest, and it would like knock you against the wall.
Iron Rod, that's my grinder. No.
Like, of course it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's quite weird because I remember when I started school, like there were still stories like every school you get your head flushed down the toilet, on your birthday and things like that. But then there was always like a couple of years before I started, people were still being caned, and like I remember wanting to verify that no one was being caned anymore because I thought I can't have that. And but then still thinking about like the stuff that happened, you would get bald rubbers thrown at you. And you would get like whacked with rulers and the back of your hair pulled and things like that. And it's fucking mean, man.
It was mean.
But, I don't want to sound like, that your average taxi driver didn't do me any harm. And it didn't. And I did, no. I did know right from wrong. I did know that if I played up, something was going to happen.
Yeah.
So there is an argument for it as well.
I definitely see it.
Then I also think if I found out that someone happened to pull my daughter's hair,
oh my God,
I'll go and light up that teacher.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. Did you ever have the back of your hair pulled? Yeah.
Oh, loads.
Because the only person who used to do that was my economics teacher, who turned out to be a nonce. Literally.
Number one, Chris.
I'm going to call this one
economics. After class.
Fondest memories. Well, it's called Water Fight. So basically, it was the last year of school, and I've said to you before I weren't having such a good time then because of people like Andrew Spandrew, whatever I called him, right?
And stuff, yeah.
That and the trying to avoid getting molested. It was hard work, school, and
do you think schools should have like communal showers? I know that sounds really jacko. But, like, do you think that still is a thing?
I guess so.
Because that's a really weird thing, isn't it?
I was quite terrified because I was a late bloomer.
Obviously, so was I.
Oh, you look at me now, you're like, fucking hell, you've probably always had a beard and a giant cock. But I haven't always had
I remember thinking, because there was blokes that had massive chests at school.
Yeah.
And I was a late developer. So, they're literally walking in looking like fucking one of my dad's mates.
Dirk Diggler in the showers.
And
they're
I'm
like
still
that.
Strolling around. Yeah,
definitely.
With a butter mushroom and 6 pubes.
I didn't want anyone to see my acorn, especially after rugby. Like in the winter,
freezing, wasn't it?
It was literally going inside.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was in the wrong changing room, and that was hard. I don't know if they do that now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Weird.
But I think there's nothing wrong with seeing a young boy naked. So I think more power to everyone for doing it. So the water fight was basically. One summer on the school field, I got stitched, and two guys. The thing is, two of the guys who pinned me down were just like it was just a bit of mischievity for them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I didn't think there was anything sinister there. But the guy who'd got the water bomb definitely was someone who wasn't a fan of me and was doing it quite maliciously because they burst it right between my crotch.
Brilliant.
And so it was just before we had to go back in.
That's brilliant.
Grey trousers.
Yeah.
Very, very kind of shameful, really, because you've been sort of dominated in a way, haven't you? You've been pushed to the ground.
It's a definitive strike in a water fight.
It is. Or is it? So, so it was quite embarrassing for me, and I was like, oh, fuck, and it does look like you've been done over.
Yeah.
So I got my revenge. And basically, over the weekend, this is back in the early 90s. What came out in the early 90s? Can you remember? What if you was going to have a water fight? What would you want on your side?
Water bombs were 80s, weren't they?
Yeah. That's what they got me with. But I time for something new and improve.
One of them blaster things.
I bought a Super Soaker.
Right.
And I hadn't told anyone. I'd kept it to myself, which was really hard to smuggle in a fucking massive water gun into school and not be tempted to sort of to brag about it already, about what I was going to get up to. But I knew that could backfire.
Yeah.
So I basically smuggled it in my turquoise Gola bag into school.
Right. And
at the end of school, some of the lads were all like, oh, yeah, we're going to get water bombs and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get you cunts. And no one had thought anything of it, that it was the middle of summer and I went to school with my winter jacket on.
Yeah.
And I remember us getting just outside the gate, and I think they were like overly confident, or they thought that. I don't know what they're thinking. I just
so
think
they're
they
running around in just a white shirt. You've now rocked up like the Hitcher,
literally like it's that's High School Massacre basically.
Yeah.
Before they were all doing it, really.
Yeah.
So trendsetter, if anything.
Bowling for Basildon.
Yeah, bowling for Basildon. And we got just outside the school gate and we walked out just down the alley because obviously water bombing wasn't allowed at the school and all that shit. And then I just pulled this giant super soaker out of my jacket, and I think it all got very like real for them because they were like, oh fuck, and their water bombs were missing me, and I just tracked down 3 of the lads and just absolutely paced them with water, and it was very funny. It was very it was good vindication.
Yeah.
I think for those little shit bags. So I thought that was quite a good one to end on. Yeah. Now I think Craig would have filled that with piss. I think give it by college, Craig would have definitely filled that up with piss. But he was a lot nicer then. Yeah, there we go. What's your number 1, mate?
It involves a soaking.
Oh. Did you wear yourself?
No, I don't think I never pissed myself at school.
Have you never pissed yourself? You shit yourself at school?
No, I pissed myself twice in my life.
Yeah.
Once throwing an Action Force Jeep and taking a chip out of my parents' table. Me and Cunt and the gang made a ramp, and I laughed so much. He was like, he calls me Roy. He was like, Roy, you better go to the toilet. And I went, I can't, and I just pissed myself. And another time, I fell in a river and just sat there and thought it was hilarious and laughed so much I pissed myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
But this one was at my school. There was a thing called Primrose Island.
Mm.
And Primrose Island was, at the time, you could go to the sociology department and pay £5 and get a fishing licence to go and fish it.
Oh.
So, like, the weekends, you could go back to school and you could go fishing,
right.
Which was great.
Sweet.
And in the summer, it was really nice. You had, this beautiful, like, little lake with a little island in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. And so everyone would kind of sit around it and stuff like that. However, my most vivid memory of playtimes and things like that and lunch breaks, or whatever you wanted to call them, was, I don't know her name, she was a year older than me, and she was told that she was to have an arranged marriage. Ooh. And she didn't want an arranged marriage, and I guess every faith has its things that you agree and disagree with, and my thoughts on that didn't particularly resonate until maybe a few years later when I thought back on the whole situation. Sure. The only thing that I really was that bothered or interested about regarding her disapproval of an arranged marriage was the fact that every lunchtime she would express her distaste for her impending arranged marriage by dodging a string of teachers and throwing herself in Primrose Island every lunchtime.
What, really?
And it was like, it was just a complete gathering. Every lunchtime it'd be like, here she comes.
Really?
And like, the teachers would be like, whoa, no. And literally she'd be like dodging them, and then she'd be like, wait, straight in the lake.
Amazing. A bit like Gladiators, the Gauntlet.
It was like, it was like a kind of a bulldog with teachers, getting past them, and the crescendo was throwing yourself in a really, sort of like a stagnant lake.
Fucking brilliant.
And then everyone would be like, obviously, whee, because it was like seeing a dog in the playground at school.
She's a legend.
Yeah, she was. Like, I hope she's happily married now. I really do.
I heard she drowned.
And laughing about that.
Oh, mate, that's amazing. I'd love to see that. I've never seen anything like that at school.
Yeah, it was a regular thing. Like, I think there'd be like sort of like
a wet protest.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, a stagnant protest.
Good on her.
Well, that was our top 5 school memories.
A little present.
Have you?
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Little picture of me.
Look at that stupid face.
Why would he... You can see why he got all the girls.
That's actually quite a nice photo.
It's quite a nice one of me, actually. Yeah. And it was the only... I didn't have to scroll through
Bollocks.
loads. No, it was the first one I found because I was in a hurry. but there's some much more scampier ones of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just look at that lovely little lad.
Who'd ever thought that face would have
So
a
it's,
couple of shiners and a love bite?
Little bit of wank material for you folks, patrons.
See you later. Press stop on the video now, Chris. Oh, if you want to watch it, then keep your eyes on Patreon because we'll explain how you can do that. I'll see you later.